and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another Sims 4 speed build for you, and today we are in the neighborhood of Henford on Bagley. And when I started this, I really didn't know what direction I was going in, like story of my life. I usually don't have a big plan when I start building. I feel like I just kind of do stuff. But it ended up being this kind of slightly modern, like rustic situation. And at the very beginning, I was like doing some really weird stuff with the roof, trying to do something really interesting, but honestly, it ended up looking real funky. But trust me, I delete all of that and it does go back to like a more normal looking house. I was trying initially to do like this like pastel, whimsical kind of maybe fairy magic-y kind of thing, but I ended up changing it a little bit and I wanted to do like this like swoopy like roof and all of that kind of cool stuff, but I think maybe because the build was so large that it just started looking really weird. So I tried my best, or maybe I'm just not quite using that roof tool properly, but I tried and it just like, if I elongated the sides, like they were too long, it was a whole thing. So I kind of shifted my focus a little bit and then just kind of went with the flow. So once I got rid of all of those things, I just kind of started like putting stuff on there that I liked and that also kind of matched where we were. So this lot in particular is one Cobblebottom street. And so it's like right by that like little like shop downtowny kind of area. So I wanted it to blend in a little bit while having its own like style. So I kind of used that roof shape and I did include like a built-in like chimney, not necessarily one that was already in the game. And I used a lot of like stone in the facade and I brought some in as well. So like the stairs have a lot of like stone in them. And I just went with this like black and I was still thinking about using some pastel. And so the rest of the house ends up being like a light blue, which actually matched really well with the railing from Cottage Living. They actually had like a white and blue swatch, so that's kind of what headed me down the path of blue. I feel like I find an item and I'm like, yes, this is what I'm gonna go with, and this is, this is gonna be good. So I end up just kind of putting a little bit of that stone accent, and I did remember to fill in like the inside of that chimney. I feel like I've done it before and I've forgotten, so depending on the way you look at the house, you can like see the inside of the chimney and it just looks kind of weird. But if you've not done that before, you literally just add like a half wall to the top and then you can decide like how tall you want the half wall to like look right with your house. And it's kind of a way to do a makeshift chimney. And at this point, I feel like the house was still going through an identity crisis and not knowing exactly what I wanted it to look like. So we do go through several variations of windows, but I did know that I wanted to keep that door. To me, it kind of had this like slightly modern, slightly almost retro like vibe to it, and I kind of liked that, so I stuck with that. And then I tried to get like just some plain white windows. I didn't want a lot of like frills since the door had like really sleek like just square lines. So that's what I wanted to go with the windows as well. And it just kind of took me a little while to get there, but I landed on these windows and I think they worked out really well. I did end up having to bump the ones on the bottom floor up a little bit because they were just too low in the house, especially when it came to the kitchen. There just wasn't like room. And I did pull these like, I'm not sure if these are alpine or birch or what the game calls them, trees. But I did grab some because I saw one in the landscaping right behind the house as part of the world. So I used those for accents in the yard. And then I did scoot the house over to try to line up the entrance a little bit with the already like bricked walkway that they had already, which I mean, it doesn't meet perfectly. And like, we don't have that kind of stone that we could use, which is a little frustrating. So it would be nice to be able to just continue it to the house, but we couldn't do that. So I just used some like floral terrain paint to kind of give it like a path feel, but that it wasn't like super like rigid, that it went with it. And I also think if you use like tile or terrain paint, it doesn't quite match the line with, I think terrain paint looks like it does, but I think tiles, like there might be a little bit of a gap. So that was, would have been a little frustrating as well. And I didn't make the entrance quite as wide as that walkway, but I think it turned out well. And I think it'd be really cool to like live in this house in that downtown area and be able to go shopping. And then at this point, I just dove into debug for this pack, for the Cottage Living pack. and to see if there was anything extra that I could add maybe. And I did put those, like, I think those are like planter box things. You can't interact with them, I don't think, but you can use them as decoration. I took them out because I ended up not liking it, and y'all, I had such a hard time with this mailbox. Like, it gets moved around so many times. Like, I just finished building this house and I don't remember where I put it because I moved it so many times. And I do end up putting like a little garden landscape right there, and I do make it a little bit smaller with that angle. And I like to do that even like in houses. Like, I feel like it saves a little bit of room and doesn't make it look quite as claustrophobic. And then I just added a bunch of like white and blue flowers and then just some greenery. And I think it turned out really well. And then I ended up just putting like a little living area out there with a grill and a table. And I also put some actual planter boxes out there so your Sims can plant if they want to, especially if you're in cottage living, like in Henford on Bagley, you might be using the lot trait where you actually have to make your own food or go grocery shopping. I forgot what the lot trait was called, but I've only played with that once, and I felt like I just bought a lot of groceries because I didn't actually like make my own stuff. Like, I just didn't. And I didn't include any like livestock or chickens or anything like that on this lot. I just kind of kept it as, you know, this right here. And I do actually like the size of this lot as well. It was like nice and cozy, and there was room enough for like, I felt like everything you needed. There is 2 bedrooms in this house. One of them I did make for a kid or teenager, depending on, so it's got like the twin size bed. It's a larger bed, not a toddler bed, so you can kind of decide what you want to do or replace it. You can do whatever you want if you download it. And it is already up on the Sims 4 gallery under my name, Spice and Sprinkles, so you can go download that if you'd like to, change it, do whatever. I don't mind, especially if you just want, you know, to change who's in your house or what they want to do for jobs or whatever. So again, just adding a little bit of like landscaping, and I was really excited about that lamppost because I was like, that looks really cute, and again blends in with the surroundings that are already there. And then I just put a little bit of dirt around that patio. It just looked so like crisp, like that line between that tile I put down and the grass, and it just looked really weird. So I think the kind of dirt helped a little bit. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me a little while to figure out what I wanted to do for this floor plan. Like, I actually ended up like pausing it several times while I was building, especially when I got upstairs, trying to figure out exactly how I wanted to lay it out, because I knew I wanted like an owner's suite and a child's room, and then I don't have any bathrooms on the first floor. So I ended up having 2 on the second floor, so we kind of had to figure that out, and I had already put the stairs in, so we were stuck that way, so I had to figure out what it was. And actually one of the windows on the front of the house caused me a lot of issues when trying to figure out the floor plan because of where it's located, but I couldn't move it because it's on the front of the house, so it would look weird if I moved it. So I think I ended up like moving one of the back windows just a little bit just because it made more sense. So it's a little off in the back, but I figured, it's okay. I'd rather it look right inside instead of outside, since you probably won't be looking at the back of the house anyways. So I just brought in that blue and white trim as well, the railing for the stairs, and I tucked that away on the kind of left half of the house. And we end up using the left side as like the living space, like the living room and a small little office. And then on the right side is like the kitchen and dining. And then I actually left this like tiny little entrance foyer area, which I actually really liked. I started putting half walls there, but I don't know why, but the trim on the half wall like sticks so far out from the actual wall that I felt like there was like no room for your sim to walk. I feel like they would be able to walk because the game is programmed, it should be able to do that, but it just looked weird, you know, it looked like there just wasn't much space. But I just put a coat rack and some shoes by the door, like maybe that's where they keep their stuff when they're headed out the door, and then just some like knickknacks and like a little basket on those shelves. So I'm thinking like that's where you'd put your keys or mail or whatever. Again, like I feel like keys and stuff like that would be great clutter items like in the game. Like, I have mixed feelings about kits, but honestly, if they made a kit with just nothing but good, realistic clutter, I would be there for it. Like, I don't necessarily get into a lot of the CAS kits, but I do have them. Some of them are fun. I just don't do a ton of CAS. I feel like I need to do a video of just me, like, I was about to say building a sim. Oh my gosh, can you tell I build more than I create sims? But of creating sims. And And I feel like that would be a lot of fun and actually be able to see some stuff that's in the game that I haven't actually seen since I've downloaded the kits or packs or anything like that. And I actually need to do some building with the new, like, oh, I forgot what it's called, the camping kit, the kids like camping kit, and I feel like I need to do something with that, maybe create like a little park or something like that, or a really epic backyard, or maybe even just like go to Granite Falls and create something for kids. Actually, like, I feel like that's a really good idea. I need to write that down so I don't forget about it. But as always, if you have any other build ideas or things that you want to see on the channel, you know, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your suggestions. And if you are enjoying this video, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more like it. I have other stuff on the channel, different gameplay and things like that. I actually just had a video of, and this is for Animal Crossing if you play that, but I just opened a bunch of amiibo packs, so that was a lot of fun. I've never actually done that before, so I really enjoyed that. And then I also have coming up on the channel some build challenges, so like the color challenge, where you basically spin a wheel and you get assigned a random color for each room, so it kind of looks crazy. And I also did that like with a style as well. I did a spinner, so there are going to be some cool build challenges coming up, so subscribe if you make sure you don't want to miss it, and turn on notifications as well. And I didn't put like a ton of clutter in this kitchen. I just thought maybe it'd be nice to have like a small, it looks like to me like a pound cake or something, like a loaf, and I really liked that. And then I just had these rustic like baskets on the wall, and I brought in the stone from outside because I felt like that would be like a nice touch. And I do bring it in several other places in the build, even upstairs, because I think it adds a nice texture. And I kept like everything else really light, like the walls, like all in here it's all white. In the living area I have like just some like white and light blue. So again, nothing like super intense, to help balance out that stone. And then it did take me a minute to figure out exactly what I wanted to do in here. So I just ended up with a small round table and some like 4 like of those wooden chairs. I think, did those come with Parenthood or Cats and Dogs? Oh, I think it might have been Cats and Dogs. But anyway, so just putting some stuff in here, and then I ended up using that little lantern like all over the house. And you could see me there like just for a second. Sometimes when I place things, I want to see how it actually looks like if you were a sim. So like I changed my camera to see if the layout looks okay. You know, just to make sure what I'm building is all right. I have the issue of like sometimes like it looks like it fits, and then especially when it comes to stuff near the ceiling, like especially cabinetry, I end up putting it too high by accident, and I don't know that until I go to like take screenshots, and I'm like, wow, like the ceiling is cutting off part of this cabinet. But I did include like the Parenthood board here, so you can have some interaction with that and your kid that you have for this house. And then I ended up bringing in the stone here as well, and I wanted to put a fireplace in here. And honestly, like when I started doing this, I felt like the fireplace was a little out of place. Like I wish it was either in the middle of the wall or it was a little farther to the left, because I was doing the office area on the right side. And I kind of wanted to change it, but then I thought, actually, like I feel like realistically in homes, like stuff's not always built like perfectly like you think it would be. You go and move in and you're like, oh, I need to figure out how my furniture fits in here. So I actually left it there, and I think it did look good when we get to the end of the build. And excuse my efforts earlier to try to use that bigger fireplace, and I wanted to like mount something on it, like a picture or a TV or something, and that is very hard to do. Like it's, anyway, so I ended up not, and so I just included this smaller fireplace, and then with the gnome and like a little lamp. And then here is where we have like our living space on that side, the far side with the big windows. And honestly, I kind of waited till last to do that on the first floor because I kind of didn't know what to do with it. Again, because that fireplace, and I knew I wanted to have like a TV in the room, but I was like, how do I put this in here to where it's not like super tiny? So I just went over and started working on the office area, and I was gonna use that rug, but I felt like it just didn't fit quite right. So we do swap it out. Actually, I think we actually use, so there's that those 3 rugs, and then I use like the same one over there. So it does match because they're the same, but I think that was kind of neat, being able to pull those apart and use them separately. So just adding this little office space. And I've never actually used that chair before. I think that one's from Cats and Dogs, like the one with like kind of like the slip over it with the buttons down the back. That's actually really cool looking. I like the texture. It's not a perfect texture, but I like the buttons, the look of that, and just a little bit of detail. And then of course adding that pillow and blanket basket there because I feel like I want to use it all of the time. I also use the mirror that I use all of the time. I'm telling you, I need to do a build where I'm not allowed to use the things that I use all the time. It would make my life harder, but I think it would ultimately make me a better builder. And so I started with trying to put the TV over there, like in the corner, but then that felt kind of weird. So I ended up leaving those shelves that I put in, but I ended up putting the TV kind of under the windows, which I feel like in real life could cause some problems with the sun coming in, things like that, but it's The Sims, we don't have to worry about it. And then, because I ended up putting, like, I found a couch that I liked, and I was like, I don't know how to put this. It was just, I don't know. I ended up flipping on that side, and I liked it there, so I figured the TV needed to go over there. It just made more sense, at least the way it looked. And then I just ended up like adding a chair over in the corner, kind of like a reading nook, cozy area, and that little magazine holder. So maybe that's where you go and read. So plenty of space for your Sims to actually come and hang out, eat, whatever. There's plenty of room for that. So there's the mirror. And then we do end up moving those pictures upstairs because I was trying to get them to fit, and then it felt like a lot. So we do bump them upstairs. But at this point, you'll see me trying very hard and trying various things to figure out this floor plan here. And it definitely took me a minute. Like, I literally paused it over and over again and just sat and stared at this house trying to figure it out. At one point, I had to I turned it around. I was like, maybe if I look at it a different way, that would help. I feel like sometimes floor plans are really easy, and then other times they are absolutely not easy. And they're definitely difficult to get through. But this one worked out really well, I think, once I finally figured out what I wanted to do. And I tried to put like some of those wooden details over the stairs, but for some reason when I tried to do that, it like messed up the house and caused like the roofs to clip into the house. And I think it has something to do with like what the game views as a room or something. Like, I don't know exactly what the details are. So I did end up like just not doing it because I was like, there's definitely no way I can have the roof clipping into the house. That would be terrible. So over there, I'm trying to construct what the owner suite's gonna look like, and they did have an ensuite. I felt like that would be a really nice touch. And this is me, so that's that window on the front of the house that was causing me so many issues. Like, I didn't want to block it, but like I didn't know how to include it in a room in its entirety. Like, if I had my way, I would have like had a wall right through it, which I really didn't want to do. And I think when I was just trying to mentally think about how I would set up that bathroom, I was having a lot of problems, but I think it actually worked out really nicely. And then end up just pulling in some blue into that as well. And I did end up using, I didn't use the whale like shower curtain, but I did use the whale rug since it was supposed to be more of a kid's bathroom or a general bathroom. I thought that was nice. And with the blue in the towels and the cabinetry, that worked out really well. I took it out and then I was like, wait, I can make it smaller and it would fit better. And then I just ended up making the landing for the stairs just like a nice seating area. And I did include like a toy box up there, like so the kid could like play there. I thought it would be a nice space for that since it was just like open room. So you could always add more toys or whatever you want up there if you would like. And then I do swap out this couch because I felt like it was a little big for the space. And so it took me a minute to figure that out, but I ended up trying another couch and I'm like, I think I like the smaller one better. And I like undid it and I'm like, which one do I want to, you know, figure out what I wanted there. And then the kids' bedroom, I was really excited about because I ended up using a bed that I've actually not used before. So this is the one that was from Snowy Escape, and I saw that swatch and I was like, I have to use it. I feel like that's how I always do kids' rooms, is I'm looking for either a wallpaper or a bed or something where I'm like, yes, this is what I want to do, and I use that as inspiration and go from there. So I pulled a lot of that pink and purple and even some of that orange out, and actually some of the stuff that came on with it was Tiny Living. actually had like the wood tone with purple and orange, and I was like, this is perfect. So I end up using actually several pieces from that, and then we put some toys in the room. Definitely sized that down because it was huge. And even though like they wouldn't still use it because that's more of a toddler item, well, actually I think kids can interact with it too. It's just not like skill building, maybe, I'm not sure. But I also tried to make like a custom like built-in like dresser thing happening over here, and I ended up not because it wasn't fitting together right. And I was like, we don't need a desk in there. We have a desk downstairs. There's other places that the kid could work. But I ended up wanting to put that like little poof there. I thought that'd be really nice. And then using that decorative piece, I think that came with like that kid stuff pack. I forgot what it's called. And I don't know why you can see like that banister just like sticking into the wall. And so I ended up just putting like a toy in front of it because it was bugging me and I was like, it needs to go. And I just ended up putting a toy there. So it works out. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So now you can't see it. I don't know why it was clipping like that, but you know, I guess it just happens sometimes. And I end up just adding some clutter, and then I do end up putting that little octopus actually on the bed, which I thought was nice. Your sim should still be able to use the bed, so it should be out of the way. And then the mirror on the wall with all the stickers on it and stuff, I thought that was nice. And then just adding a little bit of clutter everywhere. And then I added like a science project over there. Maybe that's one that they did and brought home, or maybe one they're working on, you know, I don't know. That's up to you. And then just adding these really adorable like faces that are on those pots. I thought that was really nice. I don't use them all that often because they are so whimsical, but I felt like in here that was really nice because I wasn't sure what I wanted to put on that nightstand, but I think that was it. I think that worked out really well. And then for this bathroom, it was a little weird because I used the diagonal, but I think it worked out. And I decided not to use a big shower because I actually wanted to see the wall, so I just used a bathtub. And since there's a shower in the other room, I figured, you know, that works out. And then just trying to make sure that it actually works. Your sim should be able to use everything. I kind of pushed the sink into the wall and over a little bit. I was worried putting it all the way in the corner that it would interfere with the door, which is why I kind of put it. It looks a little random, but I think it looks cohesive once it's done. And then for this bedroom, definitely is a little more rustic. And again, I wasn't sure what bed I wanted to use, so I literally ended up just sorting by the color blue and seeing what it came up with and what ended up speaking to me. I feel like I do that a lot because I'm not sure, and I think that's a great way to figure out what kind of items in the game. Like, I didn't know like this item existed. I mean, I knew this item existed, but like that swatch, and it didn't like pop into my head as one that I wanted to use. And then I used like the same wallpaper that was used like in a lot of other places in the house, but changed the color because I thought that was kind of realistic. Like, you change the color of just the top part of it, you know, if you're painting, it wouldn't be too difficult to do. And then just adding, I'll put in a dresser and again a TV in here. So lots of TVs, lots of stuff for your Sims to do. Like, they shouldn't be bored. I do end up putting like that trunk. I thought that was really nice. Like, in my room, I actually have like an old trunk at the end of my bed, so I thought that was, you know, nice for like storage. The idea of it being storage, it's not actually storage. And then just putting a mirror on the wall, and then that dresser, and then just a little bit of clutter. Again, not a ton, and I don't think I did a ton of clutter here in this build. I feel like I need to do like a really cluttered build. I think that would be really fun, although it would take me a little while to get through everything, especially if I was like going through debug. Like, that would just be, it would take me a while. I feel like I'd need to do like a tiny home or something, and just so it would make sure it's not too long. Otherwise the video will end up being like an hour, or I'd have to cut a bunch of stuff out. But anyways, we're getting near the end of this build, so enjoy the screenshots that are coming up. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope you have a really sweet day. Bye, everybody.